The Eagles are 4-0, but they have a few issues on the offensive side of the ball. I am here with Jamie Lynch. We will be interviewing Mina and Vinny Curry as well today. A jam-packed Wednesday on the PHLY Eagles show. Come and join us. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. My name is Rich Hofmann, and I am here with Jamie Lynch, coming to you from the Xfinity Mobile Studio and presenting to you the PHLY Eagles show, presented by Bet365 and Ashley Furniture. Come on in, everybody. James, the Eagles are 4-0, but we still got a lot of stuff to talk about, same as it ever was. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I mean, the Birds are 4-0. That's all that matters, Rich. There's nothing else that could possibly be up in Eagles land. They're 4-0. Life is good. We're the defending Super Bowl champions. There's no problems. Everything's good.
There are no problems. Yeah. Anyway, James, I will say, coming off that game the other day, I feel pretty darn good about the defense. It's not perfect yet. I think there are things that they're going to need to fix. But there are a lot of reasons, I think, for optimism with this group on the defensive side. I had a lot of fun watching them play defense. I mean, they gave up the two absolutely killer long plays, but those were rookie mistakes, as Fran has said.
I was just going to say.
Over the past few days.
Makuba and Jihad.
Rookie gonna rookie.
Yeah.
It's September. Did you hear Uncle Vic at his press conference yesterday? He quoted the great Bud Grant of the Minnesota Vikings, of the Purple People Eaters, I think. I don't even know if he was the Purple People Eaters coach.
That sounds right.
He was the Minnesota Vikings coach forever ago. And basically what Bud Grant said is that for every rookie that you're playing, just add a loss to your record. And Vic said, well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but it kind of seems like if you volunteered that quote, you do kind of believe that a little bit. But anyway, the Eagles were able to overcome the two big rookie mistakes. Anyway, I think with the way the back seven played in that game, the tools at Vic's disposal, the presence of Vic in general, I'm feeling pretty darn good about what this defense will be down the line. And I'm feeling pretty good about them right now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be encouraged by. Jihad Campbell, is probably better than I expected him to be at this point. I think Drew Makuba, have we settled on Drew? Because I feel like people go back and forth here.
Well, it's weird because some of the Eagles secondary players call him Andrew, but he has said that he wants to be called Drew, and I think that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I think in the locker room, Cooper and Reed said that he's called Drew, so we'll go with Drew Makuba. I mean,
By the way, Bud Grant was the Purple People Eaters coach. Just want to get that.
And Reed Blankenship almost made an incredible play on that Makuba mistake. Like, he came from across the field and missed it by, a sliver there. So, look, our 70-yard home run play is going to happen on this defense all the time? No, they're not. I think the concern is obviously maybe the defensive edge pressures. But then to counter that, Jalen Carter's kind of coming into form, and Ojimo is up there amongst top pressures in the NFL, amongst D tackles. He's quietly having a very successful start to the year. So I think there's a lot to feel good about. Your linebackers are incredible. Zach Bond is just like one of the greatest findings in Eagles history. And then when
is the last time, by the way, do you think that the Eagles linebacking room, their position group, their
good?
Starters, was the best group on the team? Probably.
Well, I think Cooper and Quignon would like a word with you on that one.
Well, they have another guy in their room that has to play every week. And look, Keeley, nice work by Keeley. Seemed like Vic did a nice job scheming with Quignon on Egbuka the whole game. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm screwing that up.
Egbuka.
Yeah. Puka and then Egbuka.
Yeah. How do you like your eggs? Because me and Bo on Sunday on game day, we're doing a whole egg buka thing.
Sure. I like them scrambled.
Scrambled?
Yeah.
All right. We were both over medium guys.
Oh, interesting.
And you know what? It's a sneaky good egg? The poach.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On some toast?
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yeah, but Jamie, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when was the last time that the Eagles?
Let's get some thumbs up for the eggs talk, huh? Probably never, Rich. Like, honestly.
I was thinking Seth Joyner and Byron Evans. I don't really have an
But
encyclopedic
during those
knowledge.
times, wasn't Reggie? Like,
Yeah.
Reggie existed.
Clyde
so,
Simmons, right?
Yeah, like the DNs were probably better than the linebackers. The Eagles probably have, and we'll get to Nakobe Dean, who's just going to make this an embarrassment of riches. I mean, they probably have arguably the best linebacking room in the NFL. Is it their best position group on the defense? I mean, it's right there neck and neck with Quinyon and Cooper.
I'm saying the team.
Yeah. I'm saying of the position groups on the team, it's neck and neck. I would say cornerback's the only other one. Well, Ojimo's playing great, and Carter, that's pretty formidable too. They're all, to your point, this defense is fun. Like, there's a lot of good players on this team. I guess you would give Jihad and Zach probably a slight lead over D tackle and cornerback.
Well, especially because Jihad, now in fairness, Quinyon and Coop, they're not done improving for sure. I mean, Quinyon, it does seem like he is getting to the top levels of the cornerback position around the league already. But you would assume Jihad in particular, he's starting to diagnose things better. He's going to get
Definitely
the player that we're going to see in Jihad Campbell in November is going to be so much better than the guy that we're seeing right now. So I'm very excited to see that progression. Look, I mean, this Eagles defense, I don't know if it's still the case, but I read a Mike Sando article in The Athletic a few weeks ago, youngest snap adjusted defense in the league. And they just put Keeley in for Adore. So I'm sure that's going to improve that. You have the rookies making a few mistakes. Makuba, that was a bad play. Like he's got to stay over the top of that route.
Yeah,
I understand that it's a clear out route and he's getting a little bit aggressive. He thought Baker was going to try and fit that ball in there, but that's the type of mistake you can't have from the safety position. Okay, I'm still, if that's
you can live with that.
If that's the Eagles' biggest issue, like he's got to fix that over the next few months, but I assume he will. The other thing, Jamie, is that this defense they're getting destroyed by penalties. Over the first few games. So if they clean that up a little bit, I actually think they'll be better. I mean, I thought it was also funny that Uncle Vic was like, man, I'm pretty sick of these new K-balls that are just flying. He's like, we gave up a 58 and 65 yarder the other day. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he said it's changed the game, and it has. He brought up Brandon Aubrey. He's like, a 70-yarder is going to happen in the league this year. That's crazy to think about. Because I remember when they were trying the 60-yarder, Brady and Burkhardt came right on, and they were like, well, his career long's a 58-yarder. And I was like, what the hell are they trying a 65-yarder for? Well, Uncle Vic knows. They got juice balls. So the old rule was the team would only get contact with the kicking balls, I think, an hour before the game time. Mm-hmm. So, Tom Brady made this famous. They like to work the balls and get it to where they like it, whatever it is.
Some great imagery here.
Yes.
With the ball talk.
But now the team with the kicking balls has access to the balls all week. And I swear I'm trying to have this conversation as a mature adult, and I do not mean the immaturity that's coming off. But the team has, so the kickers get to manipulate the balls, work with the balls, massage the balls. All week long.
Vic's not happy about that.
No, Vic hates it. And I kind of get it. Like, a 70-yard field goal should not really be on the table. I mean, I guess it's cool and impressive, but it does change the game pretty dramatically.
Just another time where Vic has a disagreement with Howie Roseman, because the Eagles were one of the teams that petitioned for this rule. And by the way, the Eagles' reasoning on that was actually pretty understandable. They just were like, look, you only got the ball 90 minutes before the game. And they basically were like, we have our equipment guys like just running around like crazy in the locker room trying to, I'm going to say it, massage the balls, whatever.
Heat up the balls. I mean, I think that was one thing they would do. They would heat the balls and like take like literal, like, I believe I've heard this, that, like hair dryers and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would try to get it to a place where they felt comfortable. And now you have all week to do that.
And in a multi-billion-dollar industry, they said, okay, this is a little bit of a ridiculous process that we have going on here. Maybe there's a happy medium. Maybe you give it to them at 6 a.m. on the day of, right? Because yeah, I mean, the kicking is pretty crazy right now. Okay, so we feel pretty good about the defense, and we're going to have a conversation a little bit later about Nakobe Dean, who is back today.
Incredible.
But
am I the only one that didn't expect him this early? I thought he was much later in this season.
I thought so too, but we'll sort of discuss on where he fits. great to see. We're all big fans of Nakobe Dean, both the player and the guy, I would say here. But now it is time for the big deal presented by Cherry Hill Jeep. And Jamie, that is Nick Sirianni's September record is incredible. Do you have a guess on what the September now?
So this is year 5.
So
we're looking at roughly 20 games.
20 games. Now, in fairness, a couple of these games.
Year 5 already. That's kind of wild.
Include the first week of October. I just did the first month. So there are a few games that are, October 3rd, October 5th.
So we're taking the first 4 games.
First 4 games.
So 20, I'm going to say, I'm trying to think back to the start of the years. He started strong every single year. Let's go 17-3.
17-3 is close. It's a little strong.
16-4.
15-5.
All right. Still pretty damn good.
They went 1-3 in his first year when
well, we expected them to be a last place team that year.
When the Eagles were not as good. But I mean, man, what a start. I mean, 3 years with 4-0 records out of the gate. It's rare to get off to a start like this, and the Eagles have done it pretty consistently. There's a nice picture there by Ethan of Nick scowling at his 50.
He's looking at that 1-3, and he's like, "That's not me."
Yeah. So look,
that was during the seed planting days, right? He was still growing his plant.
Well, he's growing that record, man.
Yeah. So 3 4-0 months after that, it's pretty impressive. I mean, after Sunday, he moved into 4th all-time in winning percentage for all NFL coaches. Like, that's wild.
I keep waiting for this team to have a bad month so he moves down the list, right? Because if you lose a couple games, you sort of move away from the I forget the names that are up there. I think it is like Vince Lombardi.
John Madden, Vince Lombardi, and then there's one old-timey guy that I forget.
But they never have those weeks. They just keep winning and winning and winning. And we're getting to a point where Nick Sirianni with a certain number of games is going to be the winningest coach of all time, which, by the way, I would completely welcome. It would be heck of a move.
I mean, it's almost 72% of the games he wins, which is wild.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about
Paul
the
Brown. Franklin Delano Bluth says in the chat.
Paul Brown?
Yeah. He's the 4th.
Visionary coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, James, let's talk about the offense. Very up and down, I think is fair to say, right? The Rams game, the second half was just Jalen in need to pass situations, playing one of the best halves of his career. And then they back it up with the first half against Tampa Bay, where I thought the script was absolutely beautiful. Jalen against the blitz, absolutely shredded it. Patullo in the red zone. He was getting his Andy Reid on.
I loved your tweet on Sunday with the old school. It was such an old picture that Andy Reid was wearing the Reebok, was the sponsor of the league back then. But your tweet was like, is this guy calling plays in the red zone for the Birds? And it was old Andy. And it did feel like that.
But, Jamie, they're still one of the most run-heavy teams in the league, right? And I do feel like there are stretches when they get all of these 3-and-outs. By the way, they also have the highest percentage of 3-and-outs in the league as well, where they just don't have the superpower that they had last year. When last year they were able to run the ball even when the defense knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can't do that. And I do wonder if there has to be a little bit of a course correction here, at least for the next month or so. Obviously, what you turn into in December, that's still a long way away. But they might actually need to throw the ball a little bit more here to set up that running attack because they're not getting the same type of push. And look, this is not a shot at Jeff Stoutland and the offensive line. Like, I think Landon Dickerson is really banged up right now.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason they're struggling to get the running game going. But with all of these condensed sets, all of the heavy personnel that they have, I do think they need to become a little bit more of a pass-heavy offense, which is a little ironic because, like, look, they're not passing the ball that great right now. I'm advocating for something with their receivers that has not been consistent, I would say, so far this year.
Yeah, I brought this up to EJ and Bo on Sunday, actually. I was like, do the Eagles need to pass to open up the run? Because obviously we all know what Saquon did. I think the passing game problems are multi-angled right now.
Sure.
Like, one, I think your point about the offensive line is fair. Lane Johnson's clearly beat up. Dickerson isn't himself right now. He's playing through pain and injured. I would love to see them be off the Thursday I don't want him playing on Death Life Field anyway.
Crazy. Malik Neighbors with an ACL too.
But Juergens is coming off surgery. Dickerson's coming off of surgery. Right guard is kind of there's been some change there a little bit because of injury. Lane Johnson's hurt. So the offensive line is in itself. I think that affects the passing game. Kevin Patullo, new offensive coordinator. There's a learning curve. There's a get comfortable period. I think that's probably affecting the passing game. A.J. Brown's coming off a hamstring injury. He's probably not at 100%. That affects the passing game. Jalen Hurts, while we all agree is processing probably at his best of his career, maybe he's not throwing those balls up and letting his guys make plays as much as he should. Maybe that's an element of it. So I think there's a lot of elements of why. And then there's the running game. Like Saquon's not getting that runway he had last year. And I think it's natural when you have a running back that touched the ball over 500 times last year that a slow start is kind of to be expected. So I think there's a lot of, but yes, I agree with you. Ultimately, I'd love to see the passing game be why the running game opens and kind of balance each other that way. Whereas opposed to last year, I think it was the running game.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, that opened up the passing game. The beauty of this team is they're so talented on so many levels. I'm not worried ultimately about this being figured out. I think they'll get there soon enough.
I think that's right. But yeah, it just has not been the same for Saquon in terms of success rate, in terms of hitting those big plays. And, it was something that was predictable. I think if we had this conversation, and we did have this conversation in July and August, you say, oh, I mean, Saquon had 2,000 yards. That's only been done 9 times in NFL history. Clearly the running game is going to take a step back. And then you have a month like this and you're like, oh, well, not like this, but it was to be expected a little bit.
And they're 4-0, which is, there are problems. Like anybody that watches this team right now goes, yeah, there's some problems with it, and they're still winning. And they're winning versus high quality opponents. Like this has not been an easy start to the year. So if they do figure it out, the rest of the NFL should be kind of concerned because, I mean, you're probably looking at, a team that has a really good chance of getting back to the big stage again.
I'm of two minds with the point differential thing because we learned a couple of years ago that does matter at a point. Like if you just play coin flip game after coin flip game every week and there isn't like any rhyme or reason to why you're winning, it's just, they make the big plays. That's going to catch up to you at some point. We learned that in 2023. The Eagles, I believe, have a plus 20 point differential on the season, and it would only be 14 if Jordan Davis would have fallen on that football game. Thank God he didn't fall on the football, man. We had a great moment, and the point differential got juiced a little bit. But like you said, they have played a hard schedule.
Yeah.
When you look at the teams that they have played, their records against everybody against the Eagles, compared to like what the Bills have played against so far, they have played against winning football teams. I think it's 9-2-1 is what everybody else has been in. If Dallas would have won last week, that would have been 10-2. So anyway, Eagles have played a tougher schedule.
Yeah,
in the early going. I'm excited to see these guys figured out. Yeah, there are some issues with the passing game.
Sure,
but we're saying this. We come in peace here. We're not, we're not like being hypercritical here. We're just saying they're going to have to figure a few things out, but I'm excited to see how they try it. Okay. Bo and EJ talked to the great Mina Kimes.
Yes, I see Conan in the chat here is here for Mina. Conan, if you're unfamiliar with us, hit that subscribe button. Yeah. Welcome in. Mina joins us bi-weekly. She's one of the best in the business. So you should subscribe to the channel. It's in your best interest.
Great Mina Kimes from ESPN. Bo and EJ talked to Mina. They asked her about where the Eagles rank in the NFC. A bunch of talk about the Eagles defense as well. And we are going to play that interview right after we hear from a few of our friends. Jamie, the other day I was over at a friend's house and, he was really pumped to watch football, but his setup, it was a total mess. Lagging.
Was his name Bo Wulf?
I didn't want to say it, but maybe. There was lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. This guy claimed he was a big fan, but I felt like I was fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a football fan, Jamie, you got to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way that I watch, next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear that it feels like I'm in the stadium. And guys, sometimes I've got 4 games going at once because why not? On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right on my TV it's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure that big fan is not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K table or a cable capable TV box.
And let me tell you about Cherry Hill Jeep. I drive a Jeep and they're great. And Cherry Hill Jeep is the place if you're looking for a Jeep or a Ram truck. There's only one dealership in South Jersey who's been the market leader since 1967. And our friends over at Cherry Hill Jeep have you covered with the best selection, but most importantly, the best prices. And they're celebrating savings all month long. So slide into a Jeep Grand Cherokee this month. Not only is it the most awarded SUV ever, it was also named Motor Week's best midsize utility vehicle for the past 2 years in a row. That's in addition to being the 2024 IIHS top safety pick. Or pull away in the most luxurious and functional pickup truck on the market today with a Ram 1500, if that's your cup of tea. It just received the most coveted award in the pickup truck industry, the 2025 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. So stop in today. Tell them that PHLY sent you and receive an additional $1,000 for your trade-in. That's $1,000, people. I know why people buy Jeeps and Ram trucks elsewhere. I just don't know why. Drive home in your new Jeep or Ram truck today, just minutes from all bridges, and available online 24/7 at cherryhilljeep.com.
All right. Every other Wednesday, you know what time it is. We are very happy to be joined by Mina Kimes of ESPN. Mina, how are you?
I'm great.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And as we are here in Philadelphia, it is the same as it always is. The team is doing very well, and it is also extremely dramatic. But we're gonna leave the offense for later. I want to start with the defense. And I want to know from your perspective, as good as the 2024 Eagles defense was, how do they look to you as a whole? And do you think that they can potentially reach that same level this year?
They look great. I think it's interesting because I think that the 2024 offense was playing so well and felt so complete at the end of the year. I think it would be irresponsible to say, and like they're as good right now. But
Sure.
I think by the end of the year, it's totally realistic that they could be the best defense in the NFL. They might be already, but unequivocally, I think it's funny because so much of the second half of what happened against Tampa really felt like it was more about the offense. But you did see some issues spring up with the defense, and we have seen certain offenses capable of attacking their weaknesses. And I don't think the pass rush is quite there, but just the superstars are playing like superstars. I mean, right now, and it was the case in this game too, what Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are doing on the back end is just like unbelievable to me. So you feel really good about the defense, and I think maybe the trajectory that they're on is how I would put it.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about Quinion and Cooper,
Yeah.
but first, I mean, come on, Bo. We got to let Mina take the victory lap on Jihad Campbell. The guy had 2 takeaways against the Bucs. Like, I feel like she coined this. So I feel like
You
this
don't
is
understand
her
what the
chance.
word coin
No, this
means.
is we got to clear it out and let Mina take the victory lap here.
No, I love watching him every week. I mean, and it is just, I think watching Jihad, you see like growth too every week. And there's he gets targeted at times. He gave up big play. There's going to be moments where he has his rookie moments, but then the talent is so obvious. The I would say versatility jumps off the screen, the athleticism, and the football IQ, because he's got a lot on his plate. But Zach Bond, I would say, do I feel comfortable saying he's the best linebacker in the NFL? I got to think about that, but his play through the first 4 weeks is so unbelievable that I think when I watch him, it's ridiculous. I think what strikes me is I'm just so happy that Jihad Campbell is an Eagle because he gets to be the Robin to Zach Bond's Batman, and it's such a good place for a rookie quarterback, and you see him take advantage of his opportunities when they arise. But I'm just so delighted that he gets to play in this defense, in this role with that linebacker.
And you got to see them sort of change roles in this last game. Vic sort of went against what he had done in the first 3 weeks with Zach Bond being the one to come forward and leaving Jihad in coverage. So that multiplicity with the two of them. You're already starting to see it. And I think that is part of the comparison of last year's defense to this year's defense is that they are already different stylistically. And it's nice that you can trust Vic that like it's such a coaching thing to say, well, know your personnel. We're going to do what's best for the players. And most of the time that sort of rings hollow. And with Vic, like you really see it. And you see it in, for instance, the pass rush, which has not been very good, the base pass rush. They've only got 5 sacks on the season. 3 of them have come from the blitz. And all of a sudden, Vic is creating these games up front because he knows he has to sort of figure stuff out for an edge group that is not getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, I think that when I talk about the Eagles' potential weaknesses popping up, the pass rush has been obviously Nolan Smith being absent hurts, but it has been a little bit overwhelming. Jomo had a great moment in this last game, but it definitely I would say that, and obviously cornerback too, which Tampa just was not capable of attacking. You're going to face offenses that are capable of attacking that. So I think, when I think about like this defense and comparing them year to year, those are the 2 areas that jump out to me. I was really impressed by the Eagles' run defense, though, in this last game. I thought they really gave Tampa hell with those 6-1 fronts and some of the 5-down fronts as well. And so that was, I think, if I had 3 questions, it was kind of like, okay, run defense, pass rush, and then cornerback 2. And run defense really rose to the occasion in this last game.
And then as for Quinyon, I do want to circle back there because if you're deciding
ridiculous
whether Zach Bond is the best linebacker in football in your mind, how close is Quinyon to being in that conversation in a game this weekend where he'll go up against Patrick Surtain?
Yeah, he is. At this point, he's an all-pro. So let's start there. But if the combination of him and DeJean is absolutely ridiculous. It felt like every pass was. I think I was grabbing this after the game. So Baker had a 35% tight window throw rate, which I'm pretty sure is the highest in any game any quarterback has played this season.
Okay.
And it is just because of those 2. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. And the thing about Quinyon, to go back to him for a second, is we've also like seen him tested, right? Like Devontae, he's gone up against really good, Ibuka's really good, like really good receivers. And the fact that he's putting up these numbers and blanking some of the best receivers in the NFL, there's no doubt in my mind he belongs in the conversation for best corner in the league right now.
Go ahead, AJ.
Big words. All right, it's time to switch to the offense, Mina. We've been
already.
We got the.
Geez, I thought
you have anything
nice
left
for
on
a little
defense?
while longer. No, go ahead.
Listen, we've got a lot to get to.
Well, you could do the Cooper DeJean, like, oh, this is a matchup of elite corners and a white corner in this matchup. But, DeJean is obviously a little better than Riley Moss, but no, we'll let you go.
All right.
He gets to play inside, though, right? Yeah,
Riley. We've got a lot to unpack here. But first and foremost, like AJ Brown's social media post heard around the world. I wanted to specifically ask you, as somebody who lived through Russell Wilson's era with the Seattle Seahawks, how much do you feel the potential conflict between the main characters of an organization, how much do you think that has a tangible impact on the field? And do you feel like there are parallels between that era of Seahawks football and the Eagles currently?
Not really. I think there's probably stronger parallels with other receivers throughout the years who have kicked up a little dust every now and then you get the 10 target game the next week or whatnot. It's funny. I do feel like I have my finger on the pulse of Eagles Nation because my mother-in-law was just in town for my son's 2nd birthday. And the first thing she says is, "What's the deal with AJ Brown? Why is he being such a crybaby?" My mother-in-law is like a real like WIP caller vibe, and I said to her, hey, this is just how like receivers are at some point. I think what is a little bit alarming about that is it's not like he wasn't targeted, right? It's not like he was ignored in this game. It was just, and this kind of leads to a larger discussion about what's wrong with the passing offense. It just felt like predictable / maybe conservative throws, Hurts not wanting to put the palms away / not being a very good game plan for how to use them. And we can break that down. But I think, that's what sort of, I think, complicates this. It's not just like, okay, cool, throw the ball to like the last game. Like, oh, right, we just have to throw to him. It's like, no, we actually have to also figure out it's not just a binary, is he involved or is he not? It's how is he involved? Are we actually scheming him open, or is it just, hey, AJ, win one-on-one every time? Because that, to me, is a problem.
So I want this is a perfect segue into the next thing that I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about like just throw the ball to AJ Brown. It can be that simple. But I do think we saw them try that on that one series against the Bucs where they threw it to him 3 times in a row on stop routes and comeback routes. And it's kind of like
a terrible possession that was.
There needs now the next step is like, how can you do it with imagination, with creativity? Is there like, if I told you like you get to write a letter to Kevin Patullo and it's a week 5 resolution on how to feature AJ Brown, like, is there an example across the league where it's like, this is what you can do to get a wide receiver of his caliber open, create space for him, get the ball into his hands? I mean, is there an example that comes to mind?
There's a few. I was just watching the Falcons tape, and I thought they did a really good job of featuring Drake London, who obviously has some similarities to Brown this week. Not saying Brown needs to be aligned in the slot as much as London. He's kind of like their power slot, right? But I think he's a good example. Thinking about some big receivers I've seen running out of bunch formations over the last few weeks. And I think I actually meant to look this up, and maybe you guys can tell me, but I was thinking like some of the RPO concepts that they've used with in the past feel like that to me would add to, especially like, so the Bucs off defense. First of all, I think the Bucs corners are like sneaky good. So I just want to throw that out there. Sure. They're really young. They're like 2 young corners, really good. I think they're better than the Rams corners, to go back to the last week answer.
Right.
You know, second half of this game, Todd Bowles is a really good defensive coach. Like, whatever you think about him as a game manager and conservative, whatever, that dude knows how to call defense. And he if anything, maybe like took a little too long, but he switched the strategy. I don't know why more defenses don't zone blitz Jalen Hurts and don't lean on like replacement pressures and Sims and some of the stuff he was throwing at them. But the net of it is, you know, if a defense is going to do that, you have to have zone answers to get your receiver open. And it felt like Patullo had nothing, right? Like it almost looked like they were like, oh, whoa, they're not man blitzing.
Right, they're not doing exactly what they did in the first half. Yeah.
So I do think he probably bears the most. Jalen missed some throws and held on to the ball a couple of times, but I do think he bears probably the most responsibility for what happened in the second half. So you have to find ways to, get AJ Brown in space. It's not just, hey, man, like go beat your guy one-on-one. And, I think the Rams with Nakua are really good at that, and Adams as well.
Well, that's, to me, I think there's a case to be made that the path to getting AJ more space is using Devonta more creatively and using Devonta a little bit more in the Puka Nakua role, because he is the guy who can play everywhere. It has been kind of, a skeleton key for them in the past to play Devonta in the slot. He's so good there. And if you move him around, then if defenses are adjusting to that, then potentially that opens things up for AJ to be a little bit less of the only priority for defenses.
Yeah, it's a great analog because, right, like the Rams are so good at motioning their receivers in a way where then through those motions, they create leverage and space for their other receivers. When you're
as opposed to the Eagles motions, which are just
motions
like,
are so
just like walk the dog a couple of spots. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I'm sure without looking that Stafford is either the best or second best quarterback against zone coverage in the NFL, in part because of this reason. And actually his numbers do drop off pretty significantly against man. They're not bad, but Sean McVay is just so good at exploiting zone coverage in a way that we just haven't seen the Eagles been in terms of like deploying their receivers. So yeah, I think that's a good point about Devonta Smith. Have you guys looked at the RPO stuff, by the way? Because I meant to like grab that and go back and track some of it, but I was
haven't
surprised.
Seen it, but it definitely anecdotally, it feels like it is not as much of a cornerstone of the offense. And to your point about the zone stuff, like that used to be their zone beater. It used to be like the great paradox of the Eagles is you can't play man because they got AJ Brown and then Jalen Hurts will be able to take off. You can't have the zone coverages because of the RPO stuff. It feels like that's really gone away this year.
I thought Goddard too. In the first half, he was really a good answer for them, and I thought in the second half, when the Bucs shifted their defensive strategy, it's like, okay, cool, let's just take those like little completions to Goddard over the middle of the field, and it didn't feel like that was an answer there.
And play action has also been bizarrely not only extremely low often. That's a good sentence. But also they've been bad at it. And so like if you're going to be the team that's just running the ball against the wall, it feels like you should be able to pull the play action switch pretty easily and pop something downfield, and that just has not been the case.
Yeah, the running too obviously is like the big part of all of this, right? Like the elephant in the room is just the run game has not been either efficient or explosive, which is not a great combination. And to my eye, mostly it's just blocking, and some of that is obviously due to injuries, but I think that they have to figure out a way to create more room for Saquon, maybe just, spread things out for him, because he's getting contacted behind the line of scrimmage. But he actually looks fine to me when he gets to the open field. I'm not seeing. I thought maybe Saquon carried the ball a million times last year. Maybe we'll see some regression on his part. But for me, it appears to be much more his blocking.
It feels like the offensive line is actually the one that, like, the wear and tear seems to really be affecting. Like Landon Dickerson banged up, Cam Jurgens potentially banged up, Lane Johnson in and out of the lineup. It's like it feels like the attrition happened up front instead of in the backfield.
And I think Fran Duffy, our excellent analyst, has said this too. But you're starting to see just a tiny bit of Saquon's bad habits with the Giants of, like, playing behind a bad offensive line, not fully trusting what's there. Just a tiny scooch of that starting to happen, and that's what happens when you have bad blocking. But I have more faith that the running game will get sorted out than that the passing game is going to all of a sudden be this dynamic thing.
I would. So I was just starting my matchup report for, obviously, really good game, really good defense you're going up against, and I think the Broncos they're very sound against the run, and so I'll be interested in seeing how that pans out. That defensive line is obviously terrifying. Would really love to see. This was one of the first things I wrote down. Saquon as a pass catcher, to me, is big in this game. The Broncos defense cannot defend running. This was a huge problem for them. Yeah, this was a big problem for them last year. They go out and they sign Dre Greenlaw. He has not played. You can really attack their linebackers in space. This was, again, I'm pretty sure they're dead last in EPA per play on throws to running backs. The Colts killed them with Jonathan Taylor through the air. So if I'm Philly, anticipating, by the way, they're going to play less man than their usual. Vance Joseph is no dummy. He watches the tape just like us. I don't think the Broncos are going to come out and just man blitz Jalen. But they will play some man coverage, and those linebackers are really vulnerable in space. So I'd really like to see Saquon get used a lot here. I forgot that we have Dre Greenlaw coming back to the link.
Big Dom
rematch with Big Dom.
I don't think he's
play, but
maybe a little sideline coverage.
What else do we need to know about this Eagles Broncos matchup from your eyes?
Yeah. So, like I said, the defense, I think that they're going to mix things. Actually, they mix things up too against Jake Browning and the Bengals. The Bengals' response was just to throw 30 fades at Riley Moss, which I don't think is the. I do think that they're going to play some man, but like I said, I think that they're probably going to zone blitz him a lot. So I think our discussion earlier about where are the answers in that game? How do you get Jalen Hurts involved? Where's the RPO game? RPOs to me could be a pretty useful answer against this Broncos defense as well. On the other side of the ball, I've been really underwhelmed by this Broncos offense through the first 4 weeks. I know they just had a better game against the Bengals defense, but respectfully. We don't even need to get into it, right?
Defense.
The Bo Nix, the offense is pretty, they boot him out a ton. They ran the ball better last week, but often with this Eagles defense, it comes down to, do you have the wide receiver depth to attack the corner 2 problem? I don't think Denver does, candidly. So I think that they'll be okay. I have a lot of confidence in this Eagles defense against this Broncos offense.
Anything else?
I was going through our silly stuff from this week. I don't think anything's worth.
Nothing rises to the table. Is there, if you're just thinking big picture, given the angst of this 4-0 team, is there another team in the conference who you think is a true contender?
I forgot what I was asked about this. I went on a Packers pod, and I think the Eagles are in their own tier, and then you're probably putting Lions, Packers, and who's the other team? The Rams. I would put in that third tier. I mean, you saw that firsthand. The Rams offense is terrifying there right now. But no, I think for what I feel, my kind of gut feeling is that the defense is good enough to carry the offense through some ups and downs, which, hey, sounds a lot like last season, right? The first half of last season. So we'll see if they figure things out. I think I'm very, my eye is on Kevin Patullo in this one. I want to see him bounce back from what I thought was a pretty bad second half last week.
Patullo, in your sights.
Tulo watch.
And and apparently all the in-laws as well. So
Yeah, right.
thank you so much, Mina. We will talk to you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Mina.
Great to see you guys. Bye.
All right, back with more on the PHLY Eagles podcast.
And we're back. Jamie, I got to tell you, I am not a great cook regardless of how much time I have. But when you have a busy schedule, even if you are an elite chef in the kitchen, sometimes you just don't have a ton of time to make yourself some dinner. And that is where our friends at HelloFresh come into play. Guys, if you're tired of figuring out what's for dinner night after night, especially on those busy weekdays, get dinner done the easy way thanks to HelloFresh. It's easy to find time to eat well with 50 wholesome, hassle-free meals to choose from each week delivered right to your door. HelloFresh's new ready-made meals go from the fridge to your fork in just 3 minutes. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-worthy flavor you expect from HelloFresh, just with none of the work. So get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM. 1 item per box with an active subscription. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only, which varies by plan, and that is 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
And fall is here. Crisp air, football, apple picking, pumpkins on the front stoop, maybe a bonfire or two. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in that hard work. And yes, that means sweat and stank that comes with it. So don't be the stinky guy. You know that feeling. It's game day and you've been working hard all week. Your lucky jersey, it smells a little too lucky. You got to do some wash. Let's be honest. Regular deodorant, not cutting it after a long day. Here's the real game changer for you. Mando deodorant plus sweat control. This isn't just another cover up. Mando is a one stick with 2 jobs, a powerful odor and sweat control. It actually stops odor before it even starts. 1 swipe and you're good to go. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. You can't be stanking out there, guys. Get this on there, 72 hours. And just after 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. It re-engineered to stop odor before it starts. It doesn't mask it, it prevents it. 100% of study participants experience all-day odor protection. Double protection tackles both odor and sweat. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for customers, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code PHLY at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. Shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness.
And welcome back to the PHLY Eagles Show, presented by Bet365. And Ashley, man, I forgot that Dre Greenlaw is coming back to town, James. Now, it seems like he's hurt, but even if he's hurt, maybe he can travel and he and Big Dom can have a nice moment on the field.
You think Big Dom's training this week, like running through the Italian market, punching some old cow corpses hanging from a butcher shop? Yeah.
You know, I remember the reporting that he apologized after it was over.
Of course, Big Dom.
There was a let bygones be bygones type of thing. You know, maybe a nice embrace on the field before the game. The whole Link Stadium claps for Drake.
What a wild experience that was.
Yeah, and it was when the Eagles season went downhill. I actually have I had a good Big Dom interaction a couple weeks ago.
Did you? Where?
Well, the Eagles. So I'm back covering these games and getting audio and video for us a little bit. And the Eagles, they have a new like a face scanning technology.
Oh, yeah.
They only allow.
I'm surprised Bo's on board with that.
He's not. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to go to the game, so he probably
true
would be throwing a fit. Anyway, since I have not been there for a while, it never works with me. Like, I have the credential that says I'm allowed in the locker room, but the face scanning technology, it never picks me up the same way it does a lot of the other beat writers. So I was trying to explain to the security guard outside the locker room, like, hey, like this doesn't work. I promise you, like it's going to go all red. It's not going to work. And Big Dom was on his phone and he was like, he's good. He can get in there. And he just kept walking the other way.
Nice. You've been blessed by Big Dom.
Dom, you're good with me, my friend.
That's awesome.
He's good. Okay. Jamie, I did want to get, before we get to Vinny, I did want to talk about Nakobe Dean. The Eagles.
How about this? What a pleasant surprise.
They activated Nakobe's practice window today. That baby is wide open. They shoved it. Nakobe's taking a look outside the window. And that means he can practice for 3 weeks before being activated.
I was going to say, there's absolutely no reason to rush him back. One, because we talked about how good the linebacking room is. But after the Broncos, it's MetLife Field. I don't want him stepping foot on that field, even if he was ready. So 3 weeks from now sounds about perfect. Let him get into some practice kind of cardio shape. I guess the question is, and there's Nakobe. He's back. And what a great year last year. It was such a bummer when he got hurt at the end of the year. A really, really great year.
It was an underrated, awesome play that, I mean, obviously when you win a Super Bowl, there are so many great things that happen along the way. Nakobe's interception against the Jags to seal that game was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And the team clearly loves the dude, aside from just like the Georgia element and knowing half the defense. I think he's one of the teammates' favorite guys. So this is a great thing. I guess the conversation, Rich, becomes, what do they do? Because they kind of have an embarrassment of riches now with Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond, who Mina Kimes just said might be the best linebacker in the league.
If he's not, he's one of the two best. And we're talking about the elite level.
Yeah. What do? Do you do some of those sub packages for Jahad at edge rusher where you're weak now with no Nolan Smith? I don't know, but I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with this when Nakobe is back to, full health.
Jamie, you read my mind, and I am going to be very curious what Vic does with Nakobe, because for a while there, I just assumed it's unfortunate, but he's going to get Wally pipped because NFL teams really only play two linebackers.
Yeah.
The Eagles have, I think, the best linebacker duo in the NFL. Maybe if Nakobe rehabs, maybe these guys get banged up a little bit. You can mix them in some other sub packages. But I do wonder with how little production you're getting from the edge rusher group. And by the way, what is going on with the edge rushers' triceps? They got
The Eagles have to lead the league in torn triceps, right? That's 3 in the last 6 months. Or 7 or 8 months, not even a full calendar year.
Ogbo steps onto the field for the first time, and then the triceps get torn.
It's really bizarre.
Poor guy, yeah.
That's got to hurt a lot.
But they're the only team in the NFL that does not have a sack from the outside linebacker / edge rusher / defensive end. That's not great. Now, I don't feel terrible about how that affects the entire defense because Vic can get creative and they have such good talent and versatile talent on the back end. But I do wonder, maybe you find a way to play Nakobe and you use the versatility that Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell both have as pass rushers, as guys that can drop into coverage. Maybe that ends up being your best 11 with all 3 of those guys on the field. Now, I am a little bit worried about what Nakobe would look like immediately after returning from this injury.
Sure.
That was torn patellar. That is a serious injury. We don't know that he's automatically going to be at the same level he was last year. If he is near that level, I do wonder if their best 11 involves those 3 linebackers on the field in some form or fashion.
I mean, I would think we'll have to see what happens with defensive edge and how quickly Nolan Smith gets back here. I think they're targeting November 10th. But I would think there's room for the 3 of them being on the field together, assuming Nakobe's relatively close to form from last year where, you can put Jahad or Zach maybe on an edge in some packages. It's going to be kind of on-the-fly exchanges if they do that, on and off. And Uncle Vic will really have to be dialed in with Zach in the packages on the field. But, I would have to think the 3 of them being on the field right now with the lack of edge pressures they're getting, and we can talk to Vinny about this coming up, is potentially one of their best, situations to be in.
Yeah. No, I think that you're going to have to try and find a way to get Nakobe on the field, at least a little bit. Okay, last thing before we get to Vinny real quick, because you are the Quinyon guy.
Oh, my boy.
NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Quinyon Mitchell. My friend, the floor is yours.
I'm just so proud of him. Quinyon, You've come a long way. You're getting your flowers and your bouquets now. You're recognized. Patrick Surtain this week coming into town said Quinyon Mitchell is one of the 5 best cover cornerbacks in the NFL. If you haven't watched Fran's breakdown of him from Sunday, do yourself a favor, treat yourself, get a little cigarette, a nice glass of red wine, some bonbons, kick your feet up, and just watch Q work, because this guy is special. He does it in every phase. Like, he can close on balls quickly. He can go hip to hip with the receivers. He can high point balls in the end zone. He can stop the run. This guy's perfect, and he's ours. And he's ours for a long time. And not only is he perfect, but Cooper DeJean might have played like as close to as impressive of it as a game on Sunday as Quinyon did. The fact that you got both of those guys in one draft, Howie, I'm all yours, man. Whatever you need, just give me a call anytime. Thank you. Thank you for Quinyon.
The play Coop made where he turned around and almost got the interception. When you looked at the all-22 on that play,
insane.
It kind of reminded me of like Ed Reed, honestly. Like just the instinctive type of play that a defensive back should not be making.
Vinny said on the postgame show, and he's right, like Cooper DeJean might be one of the most athletic dudes in the entire NFL.
I mean, his tackling is just
insane.
Unbelievable.
And Quinyon, congrats, man. Player of the week. You're getting your honors. We're all so proud of you, buddy.
Okay, you mentioned Vinny Curry. We will hear from him on the other side of this break. But first, we are going to hear from a couple of our friends.
If you're a big dummy like me and you don't keep track of your finances, I've got the perfect company for you. It's Monarch Money. Now that my kids know how to work the TV remote, thanks to Monarch Money, we're finding all these hidden expenses. My kids signed up for like 16 different PBS trials and shows and movies, and Monarch has my back because I'm not catching it. I'm not looking at my checking account on a weekly basis. Monarch Money is, though. They're keeping track of it for me. Look, if you feel like organization is not your strong suit, especially when it comes to your finances, use Monarch Money, because it's the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface, your laptop or your phone, however you want to do it. And right now, with our listeners, with Monarch, can get 50% off your first year. You're going to save and get back what you spent on Monarch. I can tell you from personal experience. You just have to have somebody on your back in the financial world of things. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal, Forbes best app for couples, named in CNBC's top financial companies in the world, a passionate Reddit community of over 34,000 users that just love this app and how it was developed. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks like me. Get Monarch Money and use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY.
And James, we've all been there trying to power through weekend plans with a nagging injury or stubborn pain. But when rest is not cutting it, it is time to call the experts. And that's why we at PHLY trust Rothman Orthopedics. I got my guy, Devon Givens, right outside. Tore his Achilles a couple years ago. He is back hooping at a high level. So whether you're running in the park, playing a pickup game, or simply lifting the kids, Rothman specialists are here to treat what's holding you back, just like they did with Devon. Their top tier care will have you moving and enjoying every minute of your time. If pain is slowing you down this season, take the first step and head on over to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and schedule your appointment today. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, their mission. And welcome back to the PHLY Eagles Show, presented by Bet365 and Ashley. And I believe on the other line, we have our guy, Vinny Curry.
Not just any line, Rich. The Xfinity Mobile call-in line.
The Xfinity Mobile call-in line.
Look at this, Vinny. What up?
Vin, where are we right now?
Man, we're in my office. This is my office. It's listening to you guys, man. Great show so far, man.
I appreciate it, man. Vin, I mean, it's great. I feel like we've come to you live from like every room in your house. So I think we've gotten the office.
Yeah, this is the first in the office. Lovely wood behind you. What color is that? It's like mahogany or something.
Mahogany, yeah. Yep. little Kobe Bryant action. This science football is from back in the day. That's from Ricky Waters. Ain't that crazy?
That's
Ricky
awesome.
Waters, wow.
I loved Ricky Waters.
Yo, he
Love
was
that,
the
Vinny.
man, bro.
For who? For what?
Yeah, when I played youth football, I tried to wear number 32. That's funny.
What position did you play growing up? Were you all over
Center.
the field?
No, center. It was weighted football. You know how it is. It wasn't youth football wasn't no place for big dudes back then.
Does Noah play in weight football? Because I've seen him. He's tearing it up, man.
Oh yeah. Nowadays there's no such thing as weighted football. I don't think. Well, at least I don't know. Well, a lot of leagues don't do weighted. It's unlimited now. So yeah, now yep. So he plays safety and quarterback.
Oh man, some of those quarterback highlights, man. He's absolutely
ripping it up.
Okay, Vin, we actually were just talking about that the Eagles are the only team with an edge rusher that does not have a sack on the season yet. But weirdly, like, it's not bothering me at this point because the defense is playing so well. I guess, what have you made of sort of that scenario where they're not getting the traditional pass rush maybe that you were expecting, but how Uncle Vic has sort of worked around it and how the back seven has worked around it?
Well, they got one on the stat sheet. It's a half, maybe not a full sack, but the half. And Zadarius, he got a half a sack. And then this past game, when he did have opportunities to rush the passer, he was getting home. Just the split second. I think Uncle Vic, now that he's getting his legs under him, for missing training camp and stuff, I think he's gonna make a big difference down the stretch for us.
Vinny, is it something where you think they're close and there's nothing that Vic has to do to change up, like nothing to scheme, nothing to blitz more? Are you worried, or do you think they're just close and opportunity will present itself here for them to start wrapping up the quarterback a little bit more?
Oh no, I think they're really, really close. Even when we was sitting there and we was there watching, Baker was getting rid of the football like crazy, which I guess Baker didn't realize that his guys was locked up. But he didn't want to create any sacks though. And then the sacks he did create, obviously with the inside guys, from holding on to the ball because of the great coverage. But I think those guys is really close. Now we go another 2.5 games and we having the same conversation, then that's a whole different topic. But everybody knows sack comes in bunches. All you do is you get 1 or 2, and then next thing you know, it'll be a 5-sack game, 6-sack game. So those guys are really close.
Then we just talked about Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I mean, that was just like an outstanding game from the two of them. Like Cooper, some of his tackles in the open field, and Quinyon, the work he did on the outside. I think Brady was saying he was getting a little handsy on the outside, but they weren't calling it, right? And he was doing a great job against Igbuka. What have you seen from those two guys in year 2 after, kind of an amazing rookie year, but it seems like they're continuing to progress and get even better?
Right. I mean, Cooper, I just think he's one of the most athletic guys in the league. What can't the guy do? At this point, I'm interested to see him, run back a kick return at this point.
I know. I want to see it too. Yeah.
Like, damn, you know what I mean? And then Q, let's just be honest. You know who Q looked like this past week? Ooh. He looked like a young Darius Slay, bro. He was on it, bro. Handsy, trash talking in your face, didn't care who was there. I was like, okay. And man, he did, man. And I know those guys are close, man. Q is definitely you knew he was gonna be a household name. That's been your guy from day one. And let me just say that he is balling, bro. And we can't be more happy for him.
So, Vinny, obviously the defensive edge pressures and the cornerback relationship is a monster one, right? Because if you have a Quinyon and a Cooper locking people up, it gives you guys that extra kind of half second or second to potentially get to the quarterback. How does that play out in the locker room? Do you guys if Quinyon's playing at the level he's playing at, are Nolan and the BGs and Vinny Currys of the world hey man, thank you?
Oh, absolutely, man. You might get a little something in your locker after the game. Well, coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, any cornerbacks ever gift you a little something?
No, well,
or you gift them something?
Absolutely. It was always correlation, man. Depending on what you see in the play, and Jim used to put it into the forefront and make everybody see who created the chaos, how this happened, So that's also what makes the team even closer.
We will get to the rest of the Vinny Curry interview in overtime.
I guess it's not Bover time if there's no Bo here.
He's not here right
Just
now.
regular
so
overtime.
It's not Bover time. Vinny, we were just talking about Nakobe Dean, and he's in that practice window now, so he might come back in the next 2 or 3 weeks here. I guess with Jihad Campbell and Zach Bond already playing at such a high level, how do you see Nakobe sort of fitting into the mix that the Eagles have sort of put out there for the first month?
Listen, this is what we all been waiting for. We all been waiting for so they can scheme up, Jihad. So we want to see. I would like to see personally. I want to see him come off the edge a little bit, blitz him up a little bit. That linebacker room where it used to be a point like, man, we need linebackers down. That linebacker room is like, it got some monsters in there. You got some young guys up and coming. You got obviously the Kobe coming back. Now you can scheme up different things, just to help the pass rush out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So you want to slide to this guy, slide to that guy, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Vinny, what are you seeing from Jalen Carter? Nick and Vic have both made comments that he wasn't really in peak conditioning yet. He's getting close to being there. Are you seeing a guy that's disrupting games like he was last year? Do you see him being close to where he was last year? What are you seeing out of Jalen Carter in the middle so far?
He's young, so it's his first time that he's the guy. So they slide to him, they gonna bump him right. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different type of conditioning he has to get used to. It's not like he's out of shape or anything like that. He looked good to me, but it's just that different things that where they used to where he's the vocal point. It's just that he has to get used to it. But he's definitely holding his own. Obviously creating havoc for other guys.
Vinny, last one from me. I thought the defense was awesome this week, but they did give up 2 huge plays, and it felt like it was the 2 rookies who made mistakes, which actually, that makes some sense, right? And as somebody who was a rookie at some point and saw a bunch of rookies play on his defenses, can you kind of tell us what that learning curve is like, especially in the first month, if you are playing sort of right away?
Let me be honest, where the time of those plays occurred, the monkey was beaming. It was beaming on his back. It was hot out there. So I only could imagine they probably only saw darkness, even when the plays was made, and that's why we can laugh about it. Obviously, we got the win. The defense played lights out, but that was a curve for them. It was like, woo, you know what I mean? And come out with the win. But I think those guys would be fine. And for those that have those little mistakes with a W, we can take that. We can live with that.
So, Vinny, I unfortunately have to ask you about A.J. Brown's tweet because the post-game show ended. The tweet came out 2.5 hours after the game. What do you make of him kind of going to social media to maybe air some grievances that I'm sure have been tried or attempted inside the building? What does that do to a locker room? Is there a chance this brings them together? Is this something you see kind of being a problem, whether it be between Kevin and AJ, Jalen and AJ? What did you make of the whole AJ Brown post-game tweet?
Really didn't think too much of it. Listen, we all know this is one of the most talented football teams, on paper, and as they proceed to keep winning. It's just one of those situations where this is a production-based business. We as fans, we like, but production-based business, kind of like, damn, understand, where he's at with it, but he's got to, Kevin, he got to get it together. He got to get the guys involved. You know what I mean? We got to get them involved in creative ways and continue to win. Then we all happy.
All right. I think that's fair. Vin, I think we're going to see you on Sunday for post game.
Oh yeah, Sunday.
The Broncos, Sean Payton. Vinny, you faced him in your career. I'm sure you did. You faced everybody. Yeah. What do you make of a Sean Payton offense, and what should the Eagles kind of be on the lookout for this weekend?
I think Sean Payton is going to test our guys. I think Sean Payton is going to try to impose his will with the run game first, but then he'll get a little pass happy. He's a good coach. But this is the game right here where I think we stand up and stand out. On all three phases.
For sure. I almost want them to throw at Surtain to kind of boost Quignon's stock up. It's like the offense doing Quignon's
Yeah, but that goes back to that tweet. I mean, we all know that ain't no corner in the league hold no damn AJ, bro.
No.
You know what I mean? Like but when it's a production base, when you go back to the table and they were like, hey, well, but we all know that he can't hold no AJ, so that's going to be a great one to see.
So hopefully this is the week that AJ breaks out, maybe for the full game too. We've seen him break out for a half game.
Yeah.
Basically had a full game's production in there too. Vinny, thank you very much. We will see you on Sunday, my friend.
All right, fellas. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, Vinny. See you, buddy.
All right.
There he is, the great Vinny Curry on the Xfinity mobile call-in line.
What a nice office.
That was very nice. I just kind of wanted to have a glass of bourbon and I'm not even a big cigar guy, but the mahogany makes me want to have a cigar.
The mahogany was it just jumped off the screen. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
So we've seen a lot of Vinny's house. We got to do an MTV Cribs at Vinny's house one day.
I feel like if we spliced all of our segments, we would have the full.
So we've seen his wine room. We've seen his gym. Now we've seen the office. We've seen his car. I think we're just missing the kitchen. Maybe we can request a kitchen hit one week.
Did you have a favorite MTV Cribs episode back in the day?
Red
Man. Yes.
The box of dollar bills on top of the fridge was incredible. I just love that. He's like, it's my loose dollar box.
He had clothes on his floor. He's like, this is my second Dreamcast. It's not plugged in.
It looked like a college kid's dorm room. It was awesome. Red Man.
I mean,
what a legend.
Of course, the memorable ones were the not nice ones. The
real people.
I felt like the Jackass guys, actually, a lot of them were, very bare bones, didn't have the greatest house. I forget which one of them. Somebody just had their bills on their pool table. I was like, man, that is so relatable. But the Red Man one, yes. That, in terms of being memorable for not being a great place.
So funny.
Yeah.
Which Eagle would you most want to see an MTV Cribs on? I kind of want to. I think Big Dom might be at the top of my list.
Is that just because you want to see Big Dom talk? And
yeah, I just want to see inside Big Dom's life because he's so guarded and protected.
I think I don't even know what the answer would be. Who do you think has the biggest, nicest house?
Well, apparently Devonta Smith just lives in a normal house on an everyday street. And
that's great.
That's
for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Jalen Carter's would be interesting. I'd love to see AJ Brown's. Because I feel like he's a personality. Love to see what's going on in his house.
I mean, Landon Dickerson, he's got the lawn.
He's the DIY guy with the big lawnmower. That'd be a good one. Myalata, and just how big everything is in his house.
Do you remember how big Shaq's bed was?
Yes. It had the Superman symbol on it.
It literally was the size of our office.
It was the size of this room. It looked awesome. I've always wanted a bed just comically large.
You had to get your steps in to get to the middle of that bed. Shaq was a memorable one. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see
people in the chat are saying Hurts. I feel like Hurts would just be I don't know, very underwhelming.
Well, you don't think he's got nice stuff?
No, he's got nice stuff, but I bet he's not extravagant. You know what I mean?
I think that's probably fair. I mean, he certainly has the most money, but that doesn't mean he would be the best.
Yeah, I think Landon would be a good one. Conan's right. Yeah. Apparently Hurts was out on Walnut Street. There's a Jordan store opening up, and it's the first in the country or something.
So that would be the argument for Hurts is
that he's got cool stuff.
Well, no, I just want to see how much Michael Jordan stuff you can fit in one home. This is my Kangol collection. Yeah. Here are my cigars.
Yeah.
Here are my Frankie Beverly CDs. Here are my hoop earrings.
That's true. The Kangol room alone would probably be pretty impressive.
That's the argument for Jalen, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be thinking about that question now way too long.
I'm going to see if that Red Man episode is on YouTube.
I'm sure it is.
Okay, we have one super chat before we get
Prince
out of here.
Blue.
From Dr. Prince Blue. Bo is missing an all-time Bo segment.
I think that was about the juice balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was right up Bo's alley.
Well, I'm going to take everybody behind the curtain a little bit here. When the Mina Kimes interview with Bo and EJ was playing, we were saying, Man, you can't really talk about those K-balls without putting some innuendo on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you got to massage the balls. You got to heat the balls. You got to do what you got to do to the balls.
There's really no way around it. Honestly, if you read back the transcript of what Uncle Vic said yesterday, it's pretty close to R-rated.
So EJ comes in after the press conferences every time and is acting social media director and head of content and other things. I'm like, EJ, what was like, break it down for me. What were the 2 best quotes I didn't get to watch? Like, and he's like, I got to tell you, Uncle Vic was talking about juice balls. And I was like, you have my attention. So I immediately dove into the ball talk and made a graphic about it. And we got a short out about it. And, sometimes you got to hop on those balls and get right to it.
Absolutely. Okay. So you're going to be on the show on Sunday, post game?
Yes.
Are
you a Bo Lever?
Am I a Bo Lever?
Yeah, Bo Nix.
Oh, I was about to say, am I a Bo Wulf? Sorry, when you get, when
it's a battle of the bows on Sunday.
Well, when it's October and you got Red October starting, I got to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about Bo Nix and the Broncos' underwhelming offense.
They had a huge game on Monday night, 538 yards of offense.
It was like they were saying, the Bengals defense.
The Bengals is pretty bad. If we could steal Trey Hendrickson for like pennies on the dollar, that would be great. I would enjoy that.
I am not a Bo Lever.
I'm like more not than M. I reckon he's probably mid. Like he's probably a guy that's going to be in that Dak Prescott range, like 12 to 15, like good, can win you some games, but probably ultimately isn't the guy.
This week, it does feel like it's a strength against strength game where the
defense versus defense.
No, sorry.
The Broncos
defense, not strength against strength. The 2 defenses are. I think it's going to be a legit test.
Benito and Surtain are awesome.
Awesome,
the best of their positions in the entire league. So,
but as good as Sean Payton can be in terms of scheming up plays, I think the Eagles defense has a pretty serious personnel advantage, and hopefully they go out and dominate the game. So you're going to be on the show on Sunday post game with Bo and Vinny. I will be at the stadium. I didn't check with anybody, but I assume the next 2 days are we got Bo, Fran, and EJ in tomorrow.
I believe the professor's in on Friday.
That's the way we usually do it.
Swooper on Thursday. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be a great week, and hopefully the Eagles can get the 5-0 against the Denver Broncos at home against the Link.
I haven't looked at the spread yet. Have you? Should we play guess that line?
I know what it is.
Okay. I'm gonna
3.5.
Okay, that's about what I was gonna guess. I was gonna say maybe 4.
Would be nice if this is the week where that turns into a silly line. It's like, come on, Eagles at home with the personnel advantage, they just blow them out.
I'd be honest. I'm on Bet365 right now. I would have guessed higher than 3.5.
I think it started a little bit higher.
Okay.
I don't know. The sharp money.
Yeah.
They're believers in Bo.
Bo Leavers.
Let's shut them up. Okay, we have one more thing on the show before we end it.
What a star-studded show today.
Yes, we have another interview, and that is with our guy, EJ Smith, and the best tackler, in my opinion, on a team that is full of excellent tacklers, Cooper DeJean, your starting slot corner, the co-host of the Exciting Mikes program. EJ talked to Cooper about the season so far. We are going to play that. So for Jamie, Julia, I'm Rich, and I'd just like to say that we love you.
And we are back on the PHLY Eagles show. I've got Eagles defensive back and Exciting Mike's co-host, equally important titles here. With me, Cooper DeJean. Welcome to the show. First and foremost, I got to ask you, what is like your routine like after a game in Tampa, a hot game? What is it? What have the last like 24, 48 hours been like for you trying to reacclimate or recover from playing in that heat?
Yeah, trying to cool off first and foremost from the heat down there, but. We were in on Monday, got a little workout in. I think it's good for the body to, get a little lift in after a game. Try to work out some of the soreness. And then just do as much recovery as you can. These first 2 days while we're not practicing. For next week. So just trying to let the body heal and recover. And also starting to prep for the Broncos.
How would you describe the experience at Raymond James, like especially with the weather as extreme as it was? Did it surprise you at all?
It surprised me how cool it was actually in the first half. Last year was just steaming hot the whole game. It was, don't get me wrong, it was still hot, but wasn't as hot as last year. You know, and there's a lot of Eagles fans there, which I think helped keep the energy up. You know, you can tell the first half, you know, everybody was juiced and we had a lot of energy. And that second half, you know, I think the energy died just a little bit. You know, but we most importantly, we found a way to win.
Did you hear the Coop chants? Did you catch that?
I did hear him. That was pretty
yeah, there were
pretty
definitely
sweet.
a lot of Eagles fans to be hearing the Coop chant.
It was
on the road.
A lot of green in the stands.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the team's tackling in this game. You know, last season, obviously the Bucs, you know, had a lot of underneath completions, really challenged the secondary to tackle, and it just stands out the way that you, Jihad Campbell, Zach Bond, how much space you guys cover and how well you tackle. I guess how much does Vic harp on that, and how important was that against this Bucs team who was trying to maybe extend those drives?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's huge. You know, especially when you got a back. You know, those two backs like they have. Those guys aren't easy to tackle at all. You know, there was a few missed tackles. You know, but that's going to happen when you got, you know, good running backs like that. But you know, it's been stressed. You know, really since I got here. You know, we started doing. I think last year, after the first couple of weeks, we started doing a tackle circuit every single week. You know, kind of just to work on our angles and work on, you know, our tackling, and I think that's helped us a lot. You know, not only last year but this year as well, going into this year. You know, because you got to be able to tackle in open space in the NFL, especially against good athletes. You know, that this league has. So it's stressed every single day while watching the film. You know, putting ourselves in good position, even if we aren't tackling or thudding up. Putting ourselves in good position to make the tackle without actually making the tackle during practice. So when it comes to the game, you know, we're ready to make those plays.
How disappointed were you that the step over, which probably would have been like an iconic picture in Philadelphia sports lore, how disappointed were you that it got the 15-yard penalty there?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. Obviously, you know, but it's just about controlling your emotions in the heat of battle. You know, it's tough, you know, when you're in the heat of it, the thick of it, and you know, you got so much adrenaline running through your body, you know, that happens. But you know, I think penalties is something that's hurt us as a defense, and you know, that we need to continue to clean up. You know, it was a cool picture, though, but it's not gonna be too good for the pockets, I don't think.
Oh no, you think you're gonna get fined for it?
I thought you get fined anytime you get a.
You would know better than me. I didn't know you got fined for every personal foul or taunting penalty, but
I thought you got fined. Maybe you don't. I don't know. We'll see.
Fingers
crossed.
We'll
find out.
You'll have to let us know the next time we talk.
Yeah.
So Quinyon Mitchell, speaking of maybe some fine-worthy behavior there, I wanted to ask you if you have any good trash talking stories from Quinyon. Obviously, he had a great game against the Bucs, but you know, his willingness to not back down against Tristan Wirfs, I really think will be one of the lasting visuals of the game. Yeah. Does he talk more trash than people realize? And do you have any good stories about him talking trash on the field?
He definitely talks more trash than people realize. And I love it. He's like a silent assassin. You know, because you wouldn't think, like, talking to him, I mean, if you didn't know him, you wouldn't think that he's the type of guy to go out there and talk trash. But, you know, he kind of gets in that mode when he's out on the football field, just so locked in and dialed in, so much confidence on the field. He just lets it fly and lets guys know. But yeah, with T. Wirfs, you know, he's a big dude, but you know, cute him back down. Did
you hear what he said?
I did not.
Okay,
I actually didn't even see it happen. I was on the sideline, I think, already. So I didn't see it happen, but you know, that's just him. He goes out there and plays with confidence every single week, which is, you know, fun to see, and it gives myself and everybody in our room confidence as well.
Both of you guys, it seems like, have taken on more in the secondary this year, but in particular, Quinyon flipping from side to side, following receivers. How difficult is that for somebody who isn't familiar with like what goes into calls and just again the fluidity of like not knowing what side of the field you're going to be on until the huddle is broken. What goes into that for him?
Yeah, I think people don't realize how hard that is, to go back and forth and play each side of the field. Because obviously last year I think he was primarily on the left side.
Yeah.
He had Slay on the right, but even just like your movements from one side, to the other, from him playing one side all year and doing like turning into guys the same way, and then this year flipping from side to side, what that takes, and obviously having to understand the calls from each side and from each formation as well, is also pretty difficult. But he's made it. I mean, he's made it look easy. I know he works hard at it during practice. Just his techniques from side to side. It's been fun to watch. He just continues to get better and grow as a player and as a leader, which has been fun to watch.
Does it impact you much? Especially, I mean, even at safety, you guys have had some moving parts, but with not really knowing what corner is going to be on your side, how much does that impact your job?
It's a little different. Because obviously I played with Q for however many games now, so we kind of have our own communication. On our side, if guys are in stacks or bunches, how we're going to play things out. If motion comes or something happens, so we kind of understand each other, and we have a plan. But obviously Keeley making his first start this season.
Yeah.
Just being able to communicate, with him, just because, we haven't been out there as much together. So that definitely changes a little bit, having to, have more communication, but it's also good, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, and we know how we're working things out, based on what the offense is doing.
Does that language between you and Quinion stretch to off the field? Do you guys have like code words or anything like that in the locker room?
No, we don't. We don't. But we do have some language on the field that is fun. It makes it fun.
Yeah.
But we kind of just come up with random things to communicate. So
speaking
it's
of
sweet.
Like your guys' bond, like it's crazy to think that you were rookies last season, and also crazy to really reflect on like how you both hit the ground running, in your rookie seasons and really made an impact early. And then you look at Jahad Campbell and Andrew Makuba this season and like how much of an impact they've been able to make early in their careers. Obviously Jahad Campbell had a huge game against the Bucs. What about their experience do you think has, or maybe your collective experiences as rookies, do you think contributes to like all of you guys being able to work into the defense and make an impact this early in your careers?
Yeah, I think it's just the confidence that everybody in the facility like gives them. Because I feel like a lot of times when you're a rookie, you don't really know what's going on. You're kind of quiet. And you're just trying to find your way. But I feel like in our locker room, guys bring those guys in and allow them to be themselves. And I think that's what we've seen, early, even before the season, just those guys, their confidence that they have walking around on the field, in themselves, has been really cool to see. And I've tried to, I've tried to, give them confidence and allow them to be themselves as well. Give them tips, from my experience, and I know Q's helped a lot as well. But it's been fun to see those guys just take on their roles, embrace it, and learn throughout, even while making mistakes, learning from their mistakes, and just going out there and being ball players like they are.
Gotcha. And last one, I know we're early in the week. You probably haven't gotten too much into the scouting of the Broncos yet, but what do you know about Bo Nix? What stands out about him as a quarterback?
Yeah, he's a playmaker. Makes plays with his legs and his arm. Got a real strong arm. Can make a lot of throws down the field. So we're gonna have to try and keep him in the pocket. Pressure him as much as we can. Stop the run game, obviously. And they got some good receivers on the outside. that'll be a challenge for us. But I think we're excited for it. They're a good team. And they're coming into the link. We're back at home, so should be a fun one.
Awesome. Well, appreciate your time, Coop. Maybe I'll start doing some of the Heat acclimation stuff that you've been doing. Hit the gym, drink some water. Make sure I drink some, maybe an electrolyte drink or something like that.
Hydration's key.
What's
absolutely.
that?
Hydration's key.
Hydration's key. Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Coop. Back to you guys on the PHLY show.
We all silly like the mayor.